Is Mr. Shulden here?
Yes.
Yes, he's in the back.
Oh, yeah.
I'll check.
Let's see how much credit he's got.
32 according to the jail.
All right.
Check real quick, I'll see what's here.
This is a scary case. Debbie and I I've got the live feed on, but the record is off. We've been seeing, and you see as much as we do, so many high blood alcohol cases. That lady from Schoolcraft earlier this week, everybody on Monday was like a 2.6 or above.
Oh, yeah, and they only have a couple drinks.
And I
Yeah.
don't know if it's anecdotal or people are just drinking a lot more.
Now, the
Now,
mental health as a whole in society is, gone in the bucket. I mean,
well,
people are a lot more depressed and stuff ever since
I-
COVID started. And they're talking about that in the schools. I mean, my wife's seeing all sorts of like elementary kids that have like anxiety. I mean, an elementary
Well-
person shouldn't have anxiety.
at one point, the sheriff, Brad was still sheriff. Drunk drivings were down. He had a theory that it had to do with the fact that you couldn't smoke in bars.
Oh,
That people didn't go to drink in a bar, they just stayed home. And so we actually had a period where drunk drivings had gone down. And probably a combination of things. Now they're certainly back up. We've had a number of terrible we had the young infant that was, we had the woman that was near Constantine. Do you know what the status of that guy is?
I have not seen a warrant request come through yet.
Well, he was in the hospital himself.
a lot of 3s, and I've even had a couple 4s.
I just don't completely understand it. But it is certainly troubling. And this guy, same thing, he didn't know where he was.
No, he's still a little bit in denial, but he says he knows he needs help, and he was working with his son to help figure out some education, treatment, and therapy options. So,
Stephenson's not here yet.
but unless those vodka and orange juices were like quadruples or
Well, and then maybe another, beer has a higher alcohol content than
gosh,
it
so
did.
aren't some of them like 8 and 9 now? Some of those,
Well, some are, but
voodoo and
just in 40 years ago, there were no IPAs or people drank lagers that were like 3.5%. Budweiser, Pabst, Schlitz, Strohs, Goebbels.
and the lights were like water.
Yeah, well, they didn't even have light beer. Miller Lite was the big deal, less filling. That was, and they were not much above 3.2 beers. Now you've got all kinds of different beers with higher, but I think when you get to this level,
And those seltzers.
3.2, you're not drinking beer. Paul, your client is back in the lockup if you want to talk to him.
Oh,
This
okay.
morning, so
Okay,
he's back there.
I can go back and.
Some of these seltzers that people are drinking are pretty high
Seltzers
too, aren't they?
are generally
Are they
5.
5s?
And then you've got people drinking shots.
Fireball.
know.
Fireball seems to mix with everything.
Well, the 2 of the cases Monday were Fireball. One person drank a 5th of Fireball. The other drank 2 pints.
The 2 pints was mine. That's still quite a bit of,
Seems like it gave you terrible heartburn.
can't be good for like diabetes either with all that sugar and those drinks like that, like the schnapps and the Fireballs, and they have pretty high sugar.
I don't know.
Pass out at like 0.06.
Well, at one time, to be a breathalyzer operator, the officers had to drink. They would do controlled, they would get drunk. TJ did it, and he can tell you the story about it, but a lot of the guys got sick. They couldn't even get to a 0.08, but I don't know.
We used to volunteer in the military all the time because they had free alcohol, and you didn't have to drive, so.
Oh, you do the controlled drinking?
Yep.
We did one at a bar meeting many years ago, but we didn't have enough time. We did one here. There's a video of it, about 1982. Craig Lieberman, who was an assistant prosecutor at the time, good guy. He did one and we videotaped it and he was kind of funny, but he was only a .08.
Did you look at his Kalamazoo record? He's got
No.
OWI in Kalamazoo.
I pulled them both up. I ran lean and I ran them in judicial warehouse and it did not say that. And I asked him, he said he didn't have any.
I thought he did too.
Yeah.
So
it
I'm
did not
looking at the Kalamazoo County Index because it wasn't on his CCH that I saw.
No.
And it went,
I didn't see it in the judicial warehouse either.
so.
What year was
But that has happened. How old is it?
Very new. It says he pled, give me a second here. Oh, wait, he didn't play. Is it still open? It's got a case number. Let me see, incident date. He did $100 bond, original charge on March 6, 2020. 4/2/20, prosecutor getting authorized complaint. Warrant
It's not
generated,
Kalamazoo.
warrant in lien. Yeah, he never got picked up on it.
He has an open warrant from Kalamazoo County.
Yeah,
Well, then the
For
jail,
OWI.
the jail should have had something about that, should have said. Did I not see that in the jail? Usually they say, it'll say it holds and
all right. And then he's got a ton of stuff, but some of it is like.
he had a crap ton
parking
of traffic
tickets and-
stuff.
Yeah, like parking tickets and stuff, but that one,
Hello, Deputy Kenny,
Bothering
Judge
me.
Middleton. Does David Sholden have a hold on him from Kalamazoo County? Solden, SOH.
it's showing as a warrant on their district court docs. I got a case.
Debbie Davis says he has a pending OUIL in Kalamazoo. All
I
right,
had a case
thanks.
last week that
I,
2 or 3 of the charges weren't even in lien.
yeah, I don't know why they're not updating them.
Laura, would you help me?
Do you want me to email this to TJ Harrington or something?
Well, I'm working on it. We'll just call the Kalamazoo prosecutor's
Okay.
office. He has a hold from Kalamazoo County for what? Well, I just found my answer.
Oh. See, I'm glad I could help.
It's really
That's
helpful,
how
thank
quick
you.
and good you
I
are.
know, right?
It's just,
So he
No,
didn't,
I guess-
didn't mention that?
well, he, honestly. You're definitely under reporting. And I know he knows it because he's. I don't want this happened. I know he doesn't.
This is David Wayne
He
Sholden.
couldn't remember, like, but he didn't remember being on probation back in.
Deborah,
2011.
is your,
David Wayne. Year of birth is listed as 1952. Parkview Avenue.
that's him. It's a PV hold? All right, thanks. Okay, bye. You have a contact in Kalamazoo Probation Department?
I usually just call with him. I'm usually pretty good about getting the information.
See what you can find out. He's got a PV pending.
Well,
You have a hold on him. But according to what you saw, it doesn't look like he had.
he's got a lot on the Kalamazoo County website here, so I'm trying to work through it real quick.
Yes, sir.
Well, There's nothing on his driving record. And that should be on there.
And they take away our CCH and lien once somebody enters a plea because we have to.
Yeah, I don't know what the sense of that is. Darn it. Mr. Solden, it appears there's a hold on you from Kalamazoo County for a
Yes.
drinking driving case.
Yes,
And we weren't aware of that. And you told Daniel there wasn't anything else.
I thought you were aware of that when I was here last time. I thought it was brought up.
No, it wasn't. So, and you. Oh, no, you're on, you're on probation to Michael Penny.
Right.
What's the probation for?
What's the probation for?
I really don't recall. I think it was 2018.
Was it the felony larceny?
Right, yes, yes.
All right.
But what about the drunk driving case?
March of 2020.
And you don't know what the status of that is?
It looks like he's never been picked up on the warrant. That was issued in April of 2020. But the larceny by conversion, 1,000 or more, less than 20,000 must be what he's on probation for.
Says, yeah, time of your arrest, they said, there's a bench warrant for probation violation of Kalamazoo County, as well as misdemeanor DUI of Kalamazoo County.
So is that when they picked me up over here?
I don't think, I mean, what I'm saying is, it sounds like you've got a drunk driving case in Kalamazoo County that you've never, that still needs to go through the system, like you, I don't know if it's that you've never, it's charged, but you never answered to the charges.
I don't know if that was due to the COVID situation. I don't know. It was
Well, there could have
that
been a
or-
warrant for your arrest that you didn't realize. Maybe.
Well, to my knowledge, I never got one.
It
But
would
I
have been
can-
March of 2020, which would have been right when COVID shut down everybody.
There was a lot of issues I had with hospitalization commissioners.
One of our YouTube viewers had a suggestion on a website with some insight on why people have such high blood alcohol levels. So I'll check it out, and if it's worthwhile.
Bless you.
All right, we got a couple things going on. We got Daniel calling your probation officer to find out what the deal is, and we're finding out whether there's an open warrant for you from Kalamazoo County, which we weren't aware of. My file has a driving record, which is nothing on it, but doesn't have a criminal history in it. Let me go on the record. We are on the live feed. This is file 221979, People versus David Wayne Solden. He's from Kalamazoo. He was charged on October 9th with fleeing and looting in the 4th degree and operating while intoxicated as a second offense. The defendant entered a plea to attempted fleeing, looting, and impaired driving. Pled no contest because it has no memory of what happened. He was on alcohol and pain medication. His blood alcohol was 0.237. This was a very unpleasant chase through some tricky terrain till he was stopped with some stop sticks. He's been in custody since the date of his arrest. Mr. Paul Gibson was appointed to represent him, and Daniel Frazine has done the screening. Mr. Frazine had made a certain sort of recommendation, but it may not be relevant if he's got a hold on him from Kalamazoo and other things. So I guess we'll start and then we'll find out what we know from the other stuff. Mr. Gibson, what do you want me to know?
I believe that even though the probation agent questioned whether or not David was being 100% honest about his alcohol use, I do believe that the defendant recognizes that he's got a problem that he needs to address, and and he's obviously got,
Just a second. Go ahead.
he's dealing with,
Hold a minute, Paul. You go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Open case OWI, and there's a warrant, but she doesn't see any hold.
All right, thanks.
Sorry about that.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So he's indicated that he's dealing with pain issues. In my representation of Mr. Solden, I was contacted by both family members and close friends of his, and they were concerned about his welfare. So he does have people out there that he's got 2 adult children. So he has somewhat of a support system, I believe, in Kalamazoo, of people that he knows and people that care for him. And as I said, he's committed to getting help for his problem, and he lives close to the Gilmore Center in Kalamazoo. So he would ask the court to consider 32 days jail with credit for 32 days. The defendant has a lot of things going on that he's still got to deal with in Kalamazoo. Thank you.
Deborah, what's your thought here?
Well, I do have a couple of restitution requests. One was filed by Three Rivers Police Department in the amount of $129 for the stop stick that was used. There were actually 3 different sets of stop sticks that were attempted to be used on him. He drove around the one set. The other did not trigger, I don't think like they were supposed to, but the one was in fact used, which was the final one that stopped him. There's also the restitution from the St. Joseph County Sheriff's Department for the blood draw. I believe it's $200 that they had requested for that. I did watch the video. For some reason, Deputy Raymond's audio wasn't working, but you could clearly see the driving, and Your Honor is aware of the layout of our county quite well. Officer Raymond, or Deputy Raymond, came upon him on 131 when he was southbound, and he turned right, I believe it's onto Coon Hollow Road, and was, as he said, all over the roadway, and that was an accurate description of what was going on. Deputy Raymond had immediately turned on his lights, and instead of stopping, the defendant just continued to drive. Although he did not speed excessively, the speeds were somewhere between 40 and 50 miles an hour, I think the top speed. It's still a very dangerous situation. There were, I believe, 7 different officers that ended up being a part of this, all because this individual decided to drink to such excess that by the time they did the blood draw and the results came back, he was still a 0.3. I don't know exactly what he was before they got to him with waiting for the blood draw. He refused to get out of the car. I don't know if it's because he was so highly intoxicated or he was just being belligerent, but he drove a lot of miles around a lot of people's homes and vehicles. And when you watch the other officers, Deputy Peters was on station in Centerville when he got the call. It makes your heart drop when you see these officers having to go through red lights, go through the 1-lane bridge here outside of Centerville. The danger to our community by this person's actions go far beyond just the cars that he might have hit. Any of these officers or the people that the officers have to go around, it's so selfish for a person to not want to face the consequences of getting pulled over and getting a DUI. And instead, he leads them on this flee and elude, driving over curbs when he gets there, and then still won't get out of the car. So his behavior is completely unacceptable. His behavior in the jail, he was DTing, so they gave him the benefit of the doubt there, but he was a jerk to the corrections officers 3 days after, maybe 4 days after he had been in there. Still DTing because he was like a 0.2 something when he got to the jail. So he's got a problem, a serious problem. And if these people that are calling, caring about him now truly care about him, they need to open their eyes and assist him. If he gets out today, which I'm not advocating for that, I think that he needs to sit in jail longer for the number of people's lives that he put in danger for his decision-making. And to gloss over the fact that while he's on felony probation out of Kalamazoo, he gets a DUI in the height of COVID, and then just pretends that it didn't happen, and just doesn't take care of it. And you're on felony probation. I'm gonna presume that part of it is you're not supposed to be drinking, let alone drinking and driving. And yet here he is in our county, where he had no business being in our county. And it was probably because of his level of intoxication that he wandered down in here. I think he needs to serve some more jail time and have that forced sobriety and get his stuff in Kalamazoo taken care of and let them deal with what they want to deal with. But to have the risk of letting him out today or tomorrow or even in a week or so, I don't have any faith that he's going to go face what he's supposed to in Kalamazoo. And I have every belief that he'll probably just go back to drinking. So I'd ask the court to keep him in jail for some period of time longer. And hopefully Kalamazoo can then get a hold on him and transfer him there to face his consequences. Thank you.
Daniel, what did you find out from his probation agent?
Well, it's what I've had happen in Kalamazoo a few times, with these older cases. They don't go after them very diligently. He's never been seen on this. He's never had any court action. He called at the end of last year and said he would turn himself in. The court told him to basically wait for a phone call from them. And then they attempted to call him on December 20th of 2021, and his voicemail was full, so they couldn't leave a voicemail. Honestly, basically they went, okay. What they were gonna tell him is he is eligible for the turn himself in program, which basically they're not gonna do a bench warrant at this point or do anything. They're just gonna wait for him to go in there with an ID, turn it in, and then they will schedule a court date. They did not have the clerk that I spoke to did not have the affidavit in front of her. She said it just looks like a normal OWI, no accident, no high BAC that she could tell, but she did not have the affidavit in front of her. Obviously, that changes things a little bit, though.
Changes a lot. So he's on a felony probation. Not sure the status of that. He has a drunk driving that he just never addressed, which he neglected to mention to you.
Yeah, they didn't say anything about any probation when I talked to
And
her.
he doesn't have any memory of this. I haven't used this in several years. I'm gonna give you a geography lesson, Mr. Bolden. You were driving southbound on 131. This is Hoffman. There's a red light here. I only went through that. The next road is Coon Hollow. And it's a very dangerous intersection. A man named Doyle Rowland, who was a federal magistrate at that intersection, when someone ran a stop sign, terrible, terrible case. There have been several other fatal accidents right there. Then you went down Coon Hollow Road, which is the twistiest, turniest road in St. Joseph County. So it's straight for a while. And then it goes like this. It's also very hilly, and it goes like this. And then there's another big curve right here. And then there's a great big hill, which goes up here to Stolt Road. My uncle lives over here. So Stolt Road goes north and south. So then you go this way to Broadway Road. And there's a great big curve right here. And now you're headed south on Broadway Road. And you go past Meyer Brothers Park. where they put some stop sticks out. The landfill is right here. This is also very hilly. You pull into Menards. 131 goes all the way across here. Bump over a couple of curbs and come to a stop. This is like the worst place, literally the worst place in St. Joe County to have a chase. Now, you weren't going 100, you're going 40 and 50. You're also 4 times the legal limit of alcohol. I'm amazed you could make it from here to here before you finally came to a stop. Plus, you don't even know what you were doing here. You live on Parkview, which is on the south side of Kalamazoo, just north of the Portage line. In fact, Parkview might be the line. How you got here, I don't know. You had to go through Schoolcraft, probably, while you were drunk. And then you did that. Then you accelerated eastbound through the parking lot, striking multiple curbs. The vehicle pulled into a parking spot and came to a stop. Ordered the driver to put his hands out the window. He got out and put cuffs on you. I'm amazed that we're here to talk about it. You're on a felony probation in Kalamazoo. You have an unserved warrant for another drunk driving in Kalamazoo. You're right, you've got a bad alcohol problem. And need help. The operating while impaired, 32 days, credit 32 days. This is outrageous with a capital O. Waive the fines and costs. In the attempted fleeing and looting, over 90 days jail, credit 32. 58 days to serve. Fine is 0. There's a $75 crime victims' rights fee, a $50 state minimum fee, a $150 attorney fee, and $330 restitution to law enforcement. 130 to TRPD, 200 to Sheriff's Department. May be released to Kalamazoo County. Next time I drive out Coon Hollow, I'm gonna think, in fact, every time I drive out Coon Hollow, I'm gonna think about you with 7 police cars chasing you. Sounds like Blues Brothers. This one of the prettiest roads in Southwest Michigan, but it sure isn't anywhere you'd want to do a chase with the police. And you don't have a clear recollection of it, but it's bad. You're gonna do at least 90 days here, which is credit for 32, which leaves 58. Which would be sometime near the end of December. But if Kalamazoo wants to come pick you up, you can go there sooner. Otherwise, there'll be a hold on until you're done. I got a feeling Kalamazoo may wait. I don't know. Doesn't sound like they're real worried about either the felony probation or the other drunk driving. And I'm disappointed you didn't say anything about the other one.
I was sure I brought that up.
Well, you brought up the probation, but I didn't think you brought up that unserved drunk driving charge. But either way, there's no sense to put you on a probation down here. You don't live here. And I don't know if you're gonna lose your apartment. Is somebody paying your rent?
Well, I've been paying it, but I don't think the funds will last for the next 50 some days.
Yeah, there's often collateral consequences. I thought about giving you 180 days, but we'll go with this. And I'm not sure what's going to happen to the rest of your life, but you need to deal with this and go deal with Kalamazoo. And don't come back down here, okay? You're good to go.
All right. I appreciate it, Your Honor.
Best of luck, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Debbie, did you like my map?
That actually is very accurate. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I was impressed.
Have you ever been out there? You
I've
driven
been,
up
I've been
Blue
out there, but
Mountain? Have you
give me
driven
a better
up Blue
perspective
Mountain?
now.
No, but I want to check it
I would
out.
suggest that you do. Now, it would have been beautiful during the fall colors, but it's literally the twisty attorney, and it goes out to the lakes, goes out to Pleasant, Clear, Corey, Arwood. It's real pretty out there, but it isn't a good place to do
Maybe when he
this.
retires, he can be a photographer.
Yeah, there you go. It's your retirement. job.
All right, thank you. I'm gonna check out that website that somebody recommended and I'll share it with you. Debbie.
Send it on to me. I'm curious because, yeah, some of these species are a little out there.